Welcome to Sense of Style. I'm Stuart. 10 masculine fragrances for mature men. And the great thing about being a mature man in 2025 is we don't hide from our masculinity. We embrace it. Fragrance number 1. This is Dior's Eau Sauvage. This is an old school classic. And I don't know if you've noticed, I'm an older gentleman. And you might think, well, he's older. He's probably going to love the old school barbershop style, herbal, lavender style fragrances. And look, I do like them, but I don't love them because I only started collecting 5 years ago. So I'm more used to the oriental, warm, sweet, spicy style. However, when it comes to loving the old school fragrances, this is a serious exception because I do love this. And I think a lot of people that maybe might not like the traditional barbershop might really like this because this focuses more on the fresh element, the lemon and the bergamot. This is really, really excellent lemon and bergamot. It has some aromatic notes. There are 4 of them. Oak moss is in here. But yeah, this one, the lemon note in this is beautiful. Another great thing about this fragrance, though, is the performance. For a fresh fragrance, you're going to get 6 hours of performance, and you're going to get very solid projection of a couple of feet, 2 or 3 feet, for 2 or 3 hours at least. This is one of those ones you spray on, and you will notice it for quite some time, and then the bottle is an absolute beauty. It's a classic. Fragrance number 2, this is Dior Homme Sport 2021. And even though this is a citrus aromatic, the resins really shine in this one. Normally, when you have fresh resins and fragrances, they're not normally like the main focus. Fresh resins are, you take like a dense fragrance, you add some fresh resins on top of them to give it a little bit of a sparkle, make it smell expensive. It's not normally the primary focus of fragrances, but this one really focuses on the olibanum and the elemi. Elemi is just like olibanum. Sometimes it's used to replace it because it's a little bit cheaper, but they went all in on the fresh resins. There's some citrus here. There's lemon and bergamot. And then there's a pink pepper note that gives it the aromatic quality, but the fresh resins you'll really notice with this one. Really good performance. Actually, I keep hearing people say that they like this even more than Dior Homme 2020. I don't know if that's true, but I've heard that a few times. Fragrance number 3, this is Givenchy Gentleman Reserve Privee. And this fragrance is so good, it bursts a lot of bubbles. Because I'm an older guy, I hear, a lot of guys talk to me about, I don't like iris. It's too feminine. Older people tend to like masculine fragrances more. They think it's a floral. They think it's too powdery. And I get it because not every guy's the same. Some guys are, hyper masculine. So the hyper masculine guys, not fans of iris, boy, oh boy, they should really try this one because the iris is still here, but it has a lot of other notes that make it very masculine. There's chestnut, amber, and I think the key note here is the whiskey. So even though you can pick up that iris, you can pick up a lot of whiskey. This is a very masculine fragrance. It is literally right now 3rd in Fragrantica's voting for best manly fragrance since 2020. That's in the last 4 years. This is a manly fragrance. It has iris. Iris is noticeable, but it's still very masculine. Now, on the topic of floral notes, this is Lacoste White, which is a citrus woody, a kind of quintessential type of fragrance for men. But the heart of this fragrance is 2 floral notes. But, here's the thing about floral notes. A lot of guys that don't like them, I think they kind of get mixed up with a bunch of flowers. And that does smell feminine. But usually when they're used in the context of fragrances, they don't tend to. In this case, there's ylang ylang and tuberose. And both of those, they give it kind of a creamy feel more than anything. For the most part, though, it is a very masculine fragrance. You've got the grapefruit off the top. You've got leather and suede in the base with 2 woody notes. Yeah, I think this is called Lacoste White because of the white florals. And yet, it just smells masculine. Fragrance number 5, this is a Dunhill icon. And this really is an icon and has been since I started collecting 5 years ago. It's generally seen as a really good, high-quality cheapie. And when I got it, I was kind of like, yeah, I get it. It was a good scent, good presentation, good performance, good price, like $40. I'm like, yeah, it's great. Except I was wrong. This fragrance is a grower. The more you wear it, the more you fall in love with the scent. That happens sometimes. It happened to me with Calvin Klein's Euphoria. This thing is addictive. I'm wearing it more and more. It is a citrus fragrance that's got a hint of sweetness, a little bit more, just a pinch more than normal. And it's just beautiful. So it's got neroli, which is a form of orange blossom, and bergamot. And I don't know whether it's the neroli, whatever it is, the citrus element of this fragrance is great. It's got a couple of aromatic notes as well. It's got a woody base, but yeah, it's the citrus notes that are special about this. The one thing, though, is this one is slightly synthetic. I mean, you would expect that for a $40 fragrance, but it's one of those synthetic fragrances where, yeah, I don't mind at all. I mean, if you're a niche guy, you're probably not going to like it, but I don't care. I don't think 90% of people will be worried about the slight synthetic feel of this. Speaking of synthetic, this is Pour un Homme de Caron. This is a fragrance from the 1934 that I haven't talked about for a long time because it hasn't been available. It showed up on Fragrance Buy the other day. You can get a bottle of this, 100 milliliters with a cap. This is a tester for $55. It's a fairly inexpensive niche house, but boy, is it strong. Holy moly. It is kind of synthetic too. It's one of the most synthetic fragrances, but the great thing about it is it smells clean. It's going to make you smell, it basically smells like lavender soap. There's a vanilla note in here that people talk about, and just ignore it. Ignore that. Just think of lavender soap. That's what this is going to smell like. It's very strong. You will literally smell like you've been in the bath and it's, covered with lavender soap. You're going to come out smelling like it. A little bit synthetic. You might notice it to begin with, but afterwards you won't, and everybody else will smell you and you'll smell clean. Phenomenal performance for $55. Fragrance number 7, Prada, Luna Rossa, the original. And it is also a lavender fragrance. Lavender is a great note. Traditional men, traditional masculine, smells kind of like a barbershop. And this fragrance is about double the price of Pour un Homme de Caron. And it is definitely smoother, a little bit more sophisticated. I mean, it is a Prada after all, but it doesn't have quite the power that Pour un Homme de Caron had. I tried it on yesterday. I couldn't believe the difference. But yeah, this one is much more smoother. It is higher quality. You can definitely tell that. So it's got lavender, and it's got a couple of other herbal notes. It's got sage and mint. And then there's a hint of sweetness that has ambrette, and it has ambroxan. So AMB, amber. So there's a little bit of an ambery feel in the base. Very good longevity. The projection's a bit iffy, but very nice, smooth lavender. Fragrance number 8, this is L'Eau de Celerio pour Homme Intense by Issey Miyake, and this is the follow-up to the classic. This is a balsamic, very masculine citrus fragrance. It has 4 citrus notes, including yuzu, and this is a Japanese brand, and yuzu's popular in Japan. This also has some warm, spicy components, cinnamon, cardamom, nutmeg. And this has an incense note that comes off as balsamic. It comes off as masculine. And so, yeah, I mean, either you're going to like it and really love the fact that it's a good price and it has good performance, or, yeah, with your dealing with balsamic, there's always a bit of a risk, but it's definitely sharp and definitely masculine, very masculine citrus fragrance. Fragrance number 9, this is Celerio Elysium from the house of Dumont, and it's a clone of Ormond Jane's Mon Tobacco. And this one is a little bit pricier for a clone, but the performance is definitely worth it. Like, you're talking 8 hours of performance. It's not a heavy projector, but it is, well, it's a woody tobacco. So you're going to get kind of like woody 2 feet projection, but it lasts. So yeah, woods, tobacco, little hint of amber, and then there is a juniper note here. Now, the juniper is also balsamic, but it's not as strong as something like the Issey Miyake. It's just a really nice, different, woody fragrance with sufficient tobacco, hint of leather in there too. Very masculine and kind of traditional. Fragrance number 10, this is Lagerfeld Classic by Karl Lagerfeld, and this is a very popular, old school, cheap fragrance, and it lasts a long time for a cheapie. Not the highest quality fragrance in the world, but the scent profile is nice. It is an ambery tobacco with a few other, like there's some herbal notes in this because it is an old-fashioned fragrance. I think it's from the 70s. It actually makes a cameo appearance in the movie Scarface. But the great thing about it is it's pleasant and the performance is really good. Anyway, I'm an old guy. I don't know if you noticed. I am comfortable being masculine, and I hope you are too, for the most part, no matter what your age. Looks like things are turning around a little bit in that area. Hopefully it'll be okay to be a man again sometime soon. Thanks for watching.